Muchas gracias por la presentación.
Thank you very much for the
Yo aprovecho
presentation.
también, dado este ambiente que tenemos,
I am also going to take advantage of this almost festive environment in the name of a person from Madrid to welcome everyone who is visiting us and have them enjoy my city. This being said, you have, without introduction, you only have to listen to my voice to a person that isn't very familiar with this topic. And I am a public servant who's old, who has been related to the terms of service and the matters of state. And when the organization of this event, and I'm very grateful for this invitation, and I hope that someone will continue being grateful for this. I think it might be useful. I had to find out what a facility manager was, and I've been working with similar things for more than 30 years. I Googled it and I started talking with those who I thought who might have an equivalency in the administration, who were similar to facility management. Those who work in administration are those who are responsible for internal regime, or even those responsible for general services in the administration. And talking about this, with this information that I had obtained, I found out that if I talked to two different people, they would give me different information about what for them was a facility manager. And it's been very useful for me this morning to be in the first forum and the first interventions that were here to form a better idea about what I'm talking. And this will change a little bit the orientation of what I was going to say, not a lot, because we can't really vary too much from the topic, but I will try to, in my presentation, to change a couple of things. Once this being said, what I'm going to talk about is not my life, but something that happened 8 months ago. And 8 months that, if this continues, transform, and especially in the service department, what the general administration of the state in Spain is. When this happened, when there was a change in government, one of the decisions that were made was to change administration. We had to rationalize, and the commission was created, the Cora Commission, that was going to rationalize the Spanish administration. And among the hundreds of aspects of change that were there, in one of the specific departments, they said that we had to create an organism that would centralize new hires for the administration. And that in September, this new department was created, and its name is very important. It's a long name. It's the General Direction of Rationalization of Contracting. I would like to refer to the first part, to rationalize, because centralizing, I think, is in the end it's only adding up. It's arithmetic. Well, it's one of these functions that they have, is to rationalize. And for the first time in these months, there has been a unit that had to analyze what was being contracted, how it was being contracted, with whom it was being contracted, and in each department in the Spanish executive and administration, social security, and also some public companies. I can assure you that it wasn't easy, but we did obtain some conclusions. For example, that paying for lighting, it's not the same in one organism or the other. A kilowatt per hour can cost double the quantity that it might cost to another ministry. I can give you an example that happened in all the areas that we've analyzed. So this general direction in order to be able to start functioning with this pilot program, it began to be structured. And I wanted to say in the first place that I wasn't going to talk about facility managers, but I would also tell you about something that our prime minister might say. I'm not going to talk about what facility manager is, or maybe I am. That's something that Mr. Rajoy is very fond of. And it's obvious that there's always a facility manager in each organization, and that's true. He already said that an equivalence could be the case of the service directions and the administration, etc. But I've also been a facility manager. I didn't know about it. And I was also a unity manager at a building, and I didn't know. It's a good thing it's not that important. But in a lot of things that one might not know, there are some activities that are realized in areas that aren't the ones that are theoretically the ones that pertain to facility managers. And in the meeting this morning, I realized this. When we started talking about what or how we could define the work of the facility manager, there were people who were talking about what they had to do in a strict way, what was as an idea, and it would clash with reality. There was no facility manager that only has to do what he theoretically has to do. And depending on the country, other things are doing. And in public administration, the same thing happens. But as I always said, that this department was born with coherence, and the first thing that was posited was a methodology for the organization. And once organisms are created in the administration, it's not always done this way. Apart from the names that I talk about now, there might be also some of the centralized contracting. I'm going to comment on 5 names, the kind of structure we're talking about. The first one is analysis and planning, because this is a facility manager activity. What use is centralizing if we're not capable of extracting consequences from the centralization, which isn't just cost savings, but we also have to see what improves and what doesn't improve and what the future is that we want to obtain. So it's not a bad idea that the first division that we tried to create was that one. The second one is a management solution and provisions and works and services. The third one is an organism that's about technological centralized contracting, because technology is something that nowadays, if we wanted or not, it's part that goes in the rest of the world. It evolves with different parameters, and it affects positively or negatively its own structure to the functioning of the company. And that's why we separated it. It also came up this morning. There has to be does the technological part have to be integrated in the facility manager activity? How is it integrated? How is it separated? We also looked at this structure and posited a clear separation. And with these technologies, we unite not only the communications part, but also the IT part. There's also the centralized contracting secretariat, because all contracting paperwork will be controlled. I work at the IRS, as you know, the fiscal policy, where we've realized this unit because of the fact that that's where the power of the money is, but also the administrative power and personnel affairs. All contracts that are above an amount that isn't very high, that are being done by the whole administration. There's another organism, which is financial administration, because we have to pay for all this. And I've been blamed for something that in today's meeting was important to justify the existence of a facility manager inside the organization of a company. And it's the generation of savings. So that the organization works better, there has to be a methodology that has to transcend in savings. So that's my part, my role to get the budget and the credit for all this to be able to move on. So in this rationalization committee, we established that in our unit, we had to provide some results, at least theoretical results, for January 1st, 2015, during the first trimester. This week, the first contract will be assigned, so we're being faster than we thought. And we're revolutionizing administration. It's a revolution. We are brusque change because people who weren't interested are now interested. We have a lot of self-employed people also who can participate with the state. But we have a methodology, something that doesn't exist everywhere. We can homogenize because contracts that are of the same nature can be regulated the same way, carefully, because we're not that crazy that we can think that we can do whatever we want. We want to clean a building, you have to take into account the amount of square meters that we have to clean. It's not the same for a hospital or a parking space or an administrative center. We have to take into account the distinct nature in which the contracts are being assigned, the legal environment, for example. And it's not the same to contracting, for example, cleaning in Madrid or in a province. There's a larger distortion, so we have to be careful. And this is one of the topics that I would like to transmit to you. I'm talking here not about the role of administration, but from a personal point of view, with the vision of the Spanish administration. And what I'd like to transmit is that when you go to the administration to make your offers and get yourself known, to also make the effort to get to know the administration. There are many companies where after 10 minutes I was explaining what the administration is. And if you want to go to Telefonica and present a product, you have to know about Telefonica. So, because if you want to offer services, you have to get to know the company. Because if I want to change to what you're offering, if you're a company that offers, starting tomorrow, I'll have the contract and I'll go to the new company. And administration can't do this. There has to be a public auction. The environment is something that you need to know. And having said all this, and since I don't have much time left, I've always said that for my presentation, once I've said this, I can't talk about much more because there's a confidentiality of administrative processes. I can't talk about the security contract that's being processed or cleaning process because that would be information that you have that isn't available, and that would be a misdemeanor. So I can't really let my lips slip. But the real situation is as sad as this. It can be a lot more interesting if you have a concrete question that I might answer. Simply, I would like to transmit that their facility managers exist in the public sector, just as they do in the private one. When I ask for a facility manager, I want people to think about it, and that the administration has changed, that now it has a global image, and that even the public servants start talking amongst ourselves. I'm in a unit. I find myself in an elevator with 3 people. that I've known for 5 years or 10. One has been there for 10 years or 12 in the building, and they don't know each other. But I can assure you that the work they've been doing affects and the organization that's created in the whole of Spain. I can assure you that the first enemy that we have is inside. It's easier to change the laws of a country than their traditions. Thank you very much.